Hi, I'm Danielle Casey, the President and CEO with the Albuquerque Regional Economic Alliance. And today we are going to be talking about a very critical issue, which is site readiness, of course, and economic development. And with me, I have I would say locally famous Dale Dekker. So thanks for being here with me, Dale.
Well, thank you, Danielle. I appreciate it.
So tell me about you, tell me about Dekker, but what I really want to understand is how you see yourself, your company's role, everything you do, really as a huge function of economic development.
Well, my name's Dale Dekker. I'm an architect and planner and the founding principal of Dekker, formerly Dekker Perry Sabatini. We're a 225-person architectural engineering and planning firm with offices primarily in Albuquerque, but we also have offices in Phoenix and El Paso, which really gives us a chance to see a regional perspective of economic development and what's going on in other communities. I grew up in Albuquerque. I graduated from Zia Elementary, Jefferson Junior High.
All the way back to the elementary, all right.
And Highland High School. So, this is my hometown, and I'm very interested in doing anything that I can to make our state better and help us thrive in the future.
Well, you're known locally as kind of a godfather of data and really thinking about economic development and as a community thought leader. So we've been talking a lot about site readiness.
Yep.
You're a leader also with Areas Organization, heading up our Competitiveness Advisory Council, which is very critical. So give me your thoughts on why site readiness matters, why now, why it's important, and what do we need to do?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that are happening globally and nationally that really point to the fact that we're going to see a renaissance, I believe, of companies coming to the United States to set up operations. We found out during the pandemic that there was a huge impact on supply chains and critical infrastructure to the United States. So we're seeing companies reshoring operations from places like China to the United States. We're seeing nearshoring in Mexico, which again is the back to the future for the Camino Real. So we've got these opportunities as a state. We're strategically located along I-25 and I-40. We have 2 land bridges in our railroad system, our BNSF, and the Union Pacific. So our state really could be a hub for international reshoring of companies to the United States, manufacturing, and I think we're seeing some activity there. And our job and your job is to make sure that when they do show up, that they can locate a business here, they can build a building here. Of course, we're interested in that.
Of course.
But as we both know, kind of workforce availability is the #1 criteria that companies are looking for. And again, our infrastructure with C&M and its workforce training capabilities, their ability to pivot and customize training for manufacturers or other companies that are looking to locate here is really critical, and I think it's a strength for our city and region and our state to really grow and thrive in the future.
I love your point about workforce being a critical piece of infrastructure, because it is. I can throw a little anecdote out there. We're always working projects. We've got one that we're working on really diligently right now in particular. And one of the reasons they honed in and shortlisted our market and our region and New Mexico is because of the very specific competencies we have, because of the industries we have here. But of course, one of the hurdles that we're working very hard to get past and have solutions for is, can we deliver the property with the infrastructure they need in the ground and the timeline they need to meet the orders and the requirements they have for industry? So maybe a loaded question, maybe not, on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
How ready do you think we are with sites that can meet capacity needs for industry?
Well, I think we're finding out that we have very few sites that can accommodate that. And the companies that we're seeing, they're really looking for sites that they can start building on as soon as possible, get operations up and running as soon as possible, because it's a competitive world that we live in. And Mesa del Sol has been kind of at the forefront of that. They have a master plan that does have a lot of industrial sites. We have a few sites left in North I-25 corridor. There's some sites on the west side. And those sites really require a lot of heavy infrastructure and extensions to those. And I think we're in the world of private-public partnerships where, clearly the public benefits when we put people to work in high-paying jobs. The statistic out there, and you know this better than anybody, is that for every manufacturing job that you created an additional 4 jobs in the market that's served. So that really bodes, is the incentive and the why we want to go do this. But I think from a greater point of view, for our city and region to thrive and grow in the future, we have to diversify our economy. And the ability for manufacturing and other entities that would like to locate in our community, the wages that they pay, and the fact that we have a very productive workforce, that if they have the jobs and can be put to work, I think that we're going to see tremendous growth opportunities in our state. But they're not going to come here if it's going to take 5 years to get a site ready.
Exactly.
If the power's not there, and we have some real issues that we have to address in that. We're all on the same team when it comes to what the public interest should be as well as the private sector interest, and how we mesh those to really push forward regulations and a regulatory environment that encourages speed to market without compromising health, safety, and welfare, but that can really put people and businesses on the ground as soon as possible. Could be the difference between our state not being at the bottom of a lot of good lists and moving up those good lists to being in a better position.
Well, obviously, I agree. It's Area's mission statement that we are executing strategies to improve the quality of life across the board in the community, and absolutely investment in base industry jobs that are bringing in net new wealth, then spin out economic impact. And when COVID hit, when we were dealing with all of that, I was in a different market then, and then coming here, and my answer always was, and when I looked at economic developers across the country, we all concurred, the way that regional economic development groups and state groups can also help save Main Street, invest in the local community, see really direct community benefit, is to bring that net new wealth, because that is the payroll that people that are getting those jobs then spend in the local restaurants and retail establishments and local shops. So it all works together. And as we know, 100% of nothing is nothing. So also contributing to that infrastructure cost is, we talked a lot lately about investing in ourselves.
Yep. Well, and I think the one thing that we do have here, which I think we could play up a little bit more, actually 2 things, is our human capital. And, if you look at our labor force participation rate, that is people in the workforce, we're at the low end of the scale. I think we're like next to the last in the country relative to our percentage of people in the workforce. And if we had those 45,000 people that could have jobs in our workforce, paying taxes, bringing their families here, and doing those things, I think it would really help our state obviously diversify. But as we're seeing in California today, with those fires, we have one of the best environments from a weather point of view, from a hazard point of view, be it extreme fires, extreme weather. We don't have hurricanes, we don't have tornadoes really. We don't have earthquakes. And all of those things, I think, start to factor into where companies are going to want to locate and make their investments. And so if we can facilitate and create that environment where companies want to invest their capital in our community, hire our people who are qualified, and we have the infrastructure to train that workforce in place and can rapidly respond, and that's why site readiness is so important. We can turn the needle in our state, and I really hope that in this legislative session that the legislature sees the wisdom of that and is willing to make those kinds of strategic investments to really push our state forward and provide a great environment to raise a family, to have people come back to New Mexico who have left and would like to have great jobs and live in a great place.
And I love that you said New Mexico, because while we think about site readiness as being something that's going to be critical to the Albuquerque region, This is for the whole state.
Yeah, oh, without a doubt. And I mean, you think about 20 years from now, if we're really going to diversify the economy and we can't rely on oil and gas like we have in the past, the real economic activity is going to be in the Rio Grande Valley. It's going to be from Los Alamos National Labs down to Las Cruces, and that's going to generate the revenues that will fund our education system, that will fund our higher education system and our universities and colleges, and provide really a lot of the revenues to support a lot of the social programs that New Mexicans need.
You've talked about, yes, I agree. I really do hope they see the wisdom in that. I don't think there's an economic developer in the state that's not talking about this and that's not really supportive of it.
Yep.
We work closely with New Mexico IDEA, the statewide professional association. Do you have any other things on your wish list or what you'd like to see happen this year and where you'd like to see us in 10?
Well, one thing that a lot of New Mexicans don't realize is we have the second largest sovereign wealth fund in the United States, over $58 billion. I mean, if you run those numbers out, everybody in New Mexico, whether you're born today or you're 99 years old, you have this little savings account up in Santa Fe of about $28,000 that we need to put to work today to ensure a better future for New Mexico. And I think those strategic investments in anticipating where the growth is going to occur and the industries that we're going to attract, and then aligning our workforce needs and our education system, particularly really looking at making strategic investments in our engineering schools, both at UNM, Tech, and New Mexico State. We only have to look 480 miles to the west and see what happens to a community when they make investments in their higher education system in those schools and colleges that trains up a professional workforce. That it goes hand in hand. And I think that because our state has that sovereign wealth fund, because our state benefits from oil and gas revenues to the extent, and we have the surplus, that it's really time that we start investing in the future. And we talk about investing in the future in our kids, but we can invest in our kids all the time we want, all the money we want to. But if they get out of high school, if they get out of college and they don't have career pathways and great opportunities to for their families to grow and thrive, they're going to leave to those markets. And we saw that during COVID, where we had tremendous outmigration of millennials to Denver, Phoenix, Dallas, Salt Lake City, because that's where the jobs were.
Right.
And so we got to get those people back, because New Mexico's sticky once you get here, right?
It's really sticky. I'm not a native New Mexican. I'm 4 years in, and I can't imagine being anywhere else.
Well, we're glad you're here. I mean, from the business community, I think that you've made a huge difference. You've brought a bigger perspective as to what the possibilities are for our community and for our state. So, on behalf of myself, my company, and the business community, we surely appreciate all that you're doing.
Well, without all of us rowing in the same direction, thank you for all of your support and your thought leadership. And let's keep our fingers crossed and keep talking about site readiness. I'm very optimistic. I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to it making a difference for all of us and for Dekker.
Great. Well,
Cool.
we like to hear that too. So that's great. Thanks, Danielle.
Thanks, Dale.
Okay, Sal, you're up.
Yeah.